Jamaica, this administration has decided to move forward in a measured and deliberate way towards ganja law reform.
It began with Parliament passing the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Amendment Act.
That act has removed the attachment of a criminal record for possession of small quantities or smoking ganja.
Then, on February 6 and 24, both houses of Parliament passed the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015.
It begins to correct decades of criminalizing tens of thousands of Jamaicans, mostly poor young black males, for possession of a spliff.
In addition, it will reduce the caseload burden on the resident magistrates' courts.
This progressive legislation also begins to correct the victimization of our Rastafarian brethren, which started in colonial times and continued after independence.
The system of complete legal prohibition of ganja in Jamaica, created by the Dangerous Drugs Act, has been in place since 1948. However, this prohibition has not worked and is no longer considered fit for purpose. For decades, the reform of the law related to ganja has been the subject of several recommendations and reports by public and private sector groups. The reforms introduced by this bill reflect some of the recommendations coming out of the 2001 report and other consultations at the local level, and also current developments and trends in other countries.
In recent years, many countries and some US states have begun to decriminalize drug use to some degree while maintaining the illegality of drug trafficking.
The winds of change have been blowing internationally. The bill amends the definition of ganja so as to exclude hemp.
It makes the possession of 2 ounces or less of ganja a ticketable infraction and does not result in a criminal record.
The bill makes smoking ganja in public places a ticketable infraction.
It permits the cultivation of 5 or less ganja plants on any premises, which will be regarded as being for medical or therapeutic use of the leaves or for horticultural purposes.
It permits the possession of ganja for religious purposes as a sacrament in adherence to the Rastafarian faith.
It empowers the minister responsible for justice, A, to authorize a person, group of persons, or organization adherent to the Rastafarian faith to cultivate ganja on designated land to be used for religious purposes.
And it also allows the minister, on application, to declare an event, an exempt event, where he's satisfied that it is promoted or sponsored by a person, group of persons, or organization adherent to the Rastafarian faith, and is primarily for the purpose of the celebration or observance of the Rastafarian faith.
There's a set of amendments related to medical and therapeutic purposes.
The bill permits the use of ganja for medicinal or therapeutic purposes. It permits persons who are suffering from cancer or other serious chronic illness to import ganja or ganja products, where their use is recommended by a registered medical practitioner.
Another amendment permits persons visiting Jamaica who provide satisfactory evidence that their use of ganja for medical or therapeutic purposes has been prescribed by a medical practitioner in the jurisdiction where they are ordinarily resident, to purchase permits authorizing them to purchase and possess up to 2 ounces of ganja while in Jamaica, subject to conditions, including the payment of a prescribed fee.
And this, Mr. President, will facilitate persons who are cannabis patients overseas coming to Jamaica and being able to use medical marijuana in Jamaica, which will be part of the thrust towards a health and wellness tourism product and can derive, I think, significant benefits for the country.
Permits the use of ganja for scientific research, conducted by an accredited tertiary institution or research institution otherwise approved by the Scientific Research Council.
The bill provides for the establishment of a new regulatory body, the Cannabis Licensing Authority.
It facilitates the development of a lawful, regulated ganja industry.
Economic opportunities also exist in relation to the production of hemp and its versatile array of industrial byproducts.
It will expand Jamaicans' access to medical and therapeutic ganja products to fight against a range of diseases and related symptoms.
The legal prohibition on ganja has meant that the very real need for public messaging to discourage abusive practices in relation to ganja has been largely ignored.
It allows for more efficient use of police resources in the continuing fight against organized crime and encourages our citizens to become actively engaged in assisting our law enforcement agencies.
At the same time, the bill significantly strengthens the monetary penalties for participating in the illegal international drug trade and reaffirms Jamaica's resolute stance in this regard.
It facilitates, for the first time at last, Rastafarians having the freedom to practice their religion as guaranteed by our Constitution.